You ever wake up some winter mornings and just sigh before you even open your eyes? Not because anything is wrong, just because you already know what's outside. Cold, gray, snow that feels like it's been here since November and has no intention of leaving. You pull back the curtain and it's the same scene again. White driveway, packed snow on the roads, that kind of dull sky that feels like it's just sitting a little too low. And then you think, okay, another one of these days. That's where I've been a bit lately. Not in a dramatic way, not depressed, not defeated, just worn down by winter in that slow, subtle way that you don't really notice until you do. And that's what I want to talk about today. This is The Ordinary Effect, the show about those small, everyday things that sometimes quietly shape how we feel. Sometimes we don't talk about it. Today's ordinary thing is winter itself. I am your host, Guido Prino. Thank you for joining me. I hope that if you haven't subscribed, that you do subscribe. So winter, followed by, inclusive of, cabin fever, comfort, escapism, and why sometimes hope just feels harder in February than it does in June. Not gone, just buried under a few feet of snow. Winter kind of sneaks up on you sometimes. It doesn't hit all at once. First it's getting chilly. Then it's, okay, I think I need a heavier coat now. And suddenly you're scraping ice off your windshield every morning like it's part of your identity. And before you know it, your world gets smaller. You don't just pop out after work anymore. You don't linger outside chatting with neighbors. You don't take spontaneous walks unless you're really determined. Everything becomes planned. Do I have boots? Is the driveway clear? Is it too cold to bother? And I've noticed that does something to you emotionally. It's not just that your body is colder, your mood changes too. Your house feels different in winter, doesn't it? In summer, you've got windows open, air moving, people coming and going. There's life outside your walls. In winter, your house becomes this sealed bubble. Safe, yes, but also kind of isolating. You hear the wind rattling through the windows. You see snow piling up again and think, we just did this yesterday. And there's this quiet heaviness that settles in. We joke about cabin fever, but honestly, it's not that funny when you're in it. It's that slow feeling of being trapped in the same loop. Work, home, cold, dark, repeat. And most of us just power through without really talking about how much that actually affects us. We say, yeah, winter's rough, like it's small talk. But inside, we might be thinking, I am tired of this season. So what do we do when winter feels like it's never going to end? We reach for comfort. And here's the thing, we do it, but we also beat ourselves up over it. We binge a show that we've already seen for the third time. We eat more carbs than we probably should. We scroll way longer than we meant to. We lean into nostalgia, old music, old movies, old memories. I just finished rewatching the Roots series. Sometimes we say to ourselves, why am I being so lazy? Why can't I just be more productive? Other people seem to have their lives together. But I've been thinking about this a fair bit. What if comfort isn't failure? What if it's just human? When you're physically cold, you look for warmth. That's not weakness, that's survival. Emotionally, winter can feel like a slow, constant chill. So, of course, your brain goes, okay, we need something that feels safe. A warm meal, a familiar show, a playlist that feels like home, a long chat with someone who makes you feel understood. Those things aren't distractions, they're anchors. The issue isn't wanting comfort. The issue is when comfort becomes the only thing we allow ourselves. When we stop actually living and just start soothing. Winter's always been hard, but winter now, with phones, social media, and streaming, it's a different kind of hard. We don't just sit quietly anymore. We don't just stare out the window and think. We scroll and scroll and scroll. And in the moment, it feels kind of nice, distracting, easy. But then you put your phone down and sometimes feel emptier than before. Social media tells us we're connected, but a lot of us feel lonelier than ever. You're sitting alone on your couch, watching other people's highlight reels. Sunny vacations while you're scraping ice off your windshield. Perfectly organized kitchens while your own house feels messy. Productivity influencers telling you to wake up at 5 a.m., meditate, journal, cold plunge, and optimize your life. Meanwhile, you're just trying to make it through February without losing your mind. And we've even got AI-generated comfort, videos, music, and content literally designed to keep us engaged as long as possible. But here's the real question. Is this actually making us feel better? Or is it just numbing us? Because comfort and numbness are not the same thing. Comfort feels like a warm blanket. You're calmer afterward. Numbness feels like a fog. You're just checked out. And in winter, that line gets blurry, maybe quite quickly. Sometimes we tell ourselves, I'm just relaxing, when really we're avoiding feeling lonely, bored, or stuck. And honestly, that's not something to feel ashamed of. It's just something to notice. Because if we ever sit with our feelings, we may never really understand them. This is where it gets a little heavier. Hope in winter is weird. In summer, hope feels easy. The sun is out, everything is growing, people are out living their lives. In winter, hope feels farther away. Not because life is worse, but because everything feels static. Snow doesn't grow, it just piles up. Trees don't bloom, they just stand there. Days don't feel like progress, they feel like repetition. So when someone says, just stay positive, it can almost feel annoying. Positive about what? Another snowstorm? Another icy morning? But I've started to think maybe hope in winter isn't about being positive at all. Maybe it's about being patient. Winter isn't really a season of action, it's a season of endurance. Seeds are alive under the frozen ground, even if we can't see them. And maybe that's what happens to us too. Maybe hope doesn't disappear in winter, maybe it just goes quiet. It's not dramatic, it's not flashy, it's just waiting. So where does all of this leave us? Not with big, life-changing answers, but maybe with kinder ones. First, maybe we stop being so hard on ourselves for wanting comfort. If you need more sleep, fine. If you need a quiet weekend, fine. If you need to rewatch The Office for the 10th time, honestly, fine. Second, maybe we get a little more intentional about our escapism. Not cutting it out, just being aware of it. Before you scroll, ask yourself, am I doing this because it feels good or because I'm avoiding something? There's no right or wrong answer, but Awareness gives you choice. And third, maybe we really remember, that winter doesn't last forever. Not in a cheesy way, just in a real grounded way. The days are already getting longer, even if it doesn't feel like it yet. Light is slowly creeping back in, and with it, so is hope. Maybe the real ordinary effect of winter is this. It slows us down whether we like it or not. It strips away distractions. It forces us to sit with ourselves. It reminds us that we're not machines. We're human beings affected by weather, light, and time. Maybe comfort isn't something to feel guilty about. Maybe escapism isn't our enemy. Maybe it's just telling us what we need. And maybe hope doesn't arrive all at once, like a bright burst of sunlight. Maybe it comes like a slow thaw, small, quiet, almost unnoticeable at first. So if you're feeling worn down by winter right now, you're not failing. You're just human. And that's okay. It is. This is The Ordinary Effect. Thank you for listening. If you're not a subscriber, please subscribe. I hope you're back next time. Take care.